If you're over 60, please, I urge you, pause whatever you're doing and pay close attention. You've spent years making the right choices, picking fruit over chips, skipping fried foods, cutting back on sugar. You've done what you believed was best for your body. But what if I told you that some of the fruits in your kitchen, the very ones you think are guarding your heart, could actually be quietly harming it? This isn't scare tactics. It's medical truth. Our bodies change with age. What supported your heart in your 40s could be working against it in your 70s. These shifts are quiet, gradual, and dangerous, and most seniors don't recognize them until it's far too late. As a cardiologist with over 3 decades of experience working with older adults, I've seen this story unfold far too often. People trying to stay healthy, unknowingly led astray by well-meaning advice. That's why in this video, I'm going to walk you through 9 common fruits that might be silently damaging your heart and guide you toward better, safer alternatives. Please, for the sake of your health, your independence, and your quality of life, stick with me. This might be the most important health video you'll see all year. Before we get started, if you haven't already subscribed, I recommend hitting that button and turning on notifications so you never miss a tip designed just for you. If you find this video helpful, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 and let me know how I can make future videos even better for you. 1. Grapefruit, the silent disruptor in your liver. If you're over 60 and working hard to protect your heart, grapefruit probably feels like a safe choice. Refreshing, zesty, and loaded with vitamin C. For years, countless seniors have made grapefruit a breakfast staple, trusting it's a clean, heart-smart way to start the day. But what if I told you that this well-meaning habit could be turning your morning routine into a quiet chemical conflict? That the very fruit you thought was helping could be working against you? To be clear, grapefruit isn't harmful for everyone. But if you take heart medications, especially statins, calcium channel blockers, or antiarrhythmic drugs, this fruit can interfere with how your liver handles those prescriptions, sometimes leading to toxic buildup in your system. Here's what happens. Grapefruit contains natural compounds called furanocoumarins, which block a key liver enzyme known as CYP3A4. That enzyme is essential for breaking down many medications. When it's blocked, the drugs stay in your system longer than they should, like water trapped behind a clogged drain. Pressure builds, and with it, the danger. Picture this: a glass of grapefruit juice with your morning simvastatin or amlodipine. It feels healthy, but silently the drug levels begin to rise. You won't feel it right away, but slowly your blood pressure may dip too low. Your heartbeat could become irregular, or your muscles might start to ache from statin overload. And the culprit? A fruit you trusted. I remember one patient vividly, Mr. Gerald, 74 years old, a retired railroad engineer from Indiana. Since his bypass, Gerald had followed every rule: daily walks, no red meat, and strict adherence to his meds. Yet he complained of dizziness, fatigue, and persistent muscle cramps. His records looked perfect, until I asked about his breakfast. With a grin, he told me, "Doc, ever since my heart attack, I start every day with a glass of fresh grapefruit juice. It's my cleanse." But that cleanse was clogging his liver's ability to metabolize medication. His statin levels were more than twice what they should have been, and his blood pressure pills were lingering too long. Gerald wasn't careless. He was doing what he believed was right. But that well-intended choice nearly sent him back to the hospital. Once we eliminated the grapefruit, fine-tuned his medications, and tracked his lab results, his symptoms vanished. "I never imagined something so small could mess me up this bad," he told me. "I thought grapefruit helped the heart. And it can for some, but not if you're on specific heart medications. If you're over 60 and taking any drugs for heart health, cholesterol, or blood pressure, talk to your doctor or pharmacist before adding grapefruit to your diet. Don't assume that something is safe just because it's natural. Nature is powerful, and power without oversight can be harmful. This isn't about demonizing fruit. It's about honoring your body's changing needs. After 60, your liver slows down, your tolerance narrows, and even one glass of juice can tip the scales. Grapefruit may not come with a warning label, but maybe it should. So now you're probably wondering, if grapefruit, of all things, can quietly wreck your medications, What else might be hiding in your fruit bowl? Let's look at another everyday favorite, one that feels familiar and comforting, but could be quietly unleashing something even more dangerous. It's probably sitting on your kitchen counter right now. If you're still watching and getting value from this, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're with me. Now let's move on to point number 2. 2. Bananas. When too much potassium becomes a danger. If you're over 60, chances are someone's told you bananas are great for your heart. They're gentle on the stomach, rich in potassium, and feel like one of the safest foods around. After all, what could be more comforting than a soft, natural fruit that's been part of American breakfast routines for generations? But here's what many seniors don't realize. As your kidneys age, the very potassium that once helped protect your heart can quietly become a threat, especially if you're taking medications that alter potassium levels, like ACE inhibitors, ARBs, or potassium-sparing diuretics. The body you have at 60 or 70 doesn't function the way it did at 40. Your kidneys aren't clearing minerals as efficiently. Your heart can't absorb sudden changes in electrolyte levels the way it used to. When too much potassium accumulates in your blood, you won't necessarily feel sick right away. But beneath the surface, it can interrupt the electrical currents that keep your heart beating in rhythm. One moment you're fine. The next, you're dizzy, weak, or in the emergency room with an irregular heartbeat, never suspecting that your daily banana habit might be playing a role. I'll never forget Mrs. Connie Harper, a kind 76-year-old widow from Ohio. She came to my clinic after an episode that shook her to the core, a fainting spell at her local grocery store. She'd felt her heart skip before, but this time her vision blurred, her legs buckled, and by the time help arrived, she was in full ventricular arrhythmia, a dangerous, life-threatening rhythm disorder. When I met with her a few days later, her voice trembled with worry. "I don't get it, doctor. I eat clean. I walk every morning. I don't use salt. I take my lisinopril every single day like I'm supposed to. The only indulgence I give myself? Bananas. 3 a day, every day, for years." What Connie didn't realize, and what many older adults don't, is that bananas, though wholesome, are among the most potassium-rich fruits. A single medium banana packs 400 to 450 milligrams of potassium. For younger, healthy bodies, that's perfectly fine. But Connie's medication was already elevating her potassium, and her aging kidneys couldn't flush it out quickly enough. The result? A slow, quiet buildup that eventually tipped her heart into chaos. Her lab results confirmed it: hyperkalemia, or excess potassium in the bloodstream. And it didn't come from pills or junk food. It came from her seemingly healthy habit. We adjusted her medication, reduced her banana intake to just once or twice a week, and monitored her potassium levels regularly. Thankfully, she improved. But what disturbed her most was how little warning there had been. "I thought I was doing everything right," she said, and she truly was, with the knowledge she had. This isn't about blaming bananas. It's about recognizing that even the healthiest natural foods need to be handled differently as we grow older. Your heart is more delicate now. Your kidneys aren't as efficient. What once nourished you can now overwhelm your system, gently, quietly, and without warning. Potassium is vital, but only in balance. And for older adults, that balance isn't just about lab numbers. It's about being aware, asking questions, and never assuming a food is safe simply because it comes from nature. If you're on heart medications, if you've had any kidney issues, or if you've been feeling tired, weak, or noticing odd heart rhythms, don't ignore it. Get your potassium checked. Discuss your diet with your doctor. And above all, don't buy into the myth that more is always better. That kind of thinking doesn't hold up after 60, because even something as innocent as a banana with breakfast can edge your heart closer to danger. Now, if bananas can quietly do that, what about a fruit that's even sweeter? One that spikes your blood sugar, throws off your metabolism, and fuels silent inflammation in your arteries? One that looks like paradise, but might be overworking your heart with every bite? Let me tell you about it next. You may even be having it for dessert tonight. 3. Mangoes. The sweet spike that confuses your heart. There's something undeniably tempting about a ripe mango. Its golden color, that tropical aroma, the way it seems to melt on your tongue. It feels like sunshine in fruit form, like a taste of youth, like comfort in a bite. For many older adults, mango isn't just a treat, it's nostalgia on a plate. But what if that same sweetness, that harmless pleasure, was quietly putting your heart at risk? For seniors, especially those dealing with diabetes, prediabetes, or cardiovascular issues, mangoes can set off a chain reaction in the body, a reaction that disrupts your metabolism, sends your blood sugar soaring, and inflames your blood vessels, all without any warning signs. Here's the truth. Mangoes may have fiber and antioxidants, but they also come with a high glycemic load. That means they can spike your blood sugar very quickly, especially in older adults whose insulin response has already declined. After 60, your body doesn't handle sugar like it once did. The pancreas becomes sluggish. Insulin sensitivity drops. Cells stop absorbing sugar as efficiently. And all that extra glucose, it sticks to the walls of your arteries, it fuels inflammation, it hardens blood vessels. Over time, this low-grade, constant inflammation becomes the silent trigger for heart disease. But it doesn't stop there. A sharp increase in blood sugar can also cause a rise in blood pressure. Because sugar doesn't just affect metabolism, it throws off the hormones that regulate blood flow, fluid balance, and heart rhythm. One imbalance leads to another. And for many older adults, it all starts with one fruit they thought was doing them good. I still remember Mr. Donald Mays, a 69-year-old Vietnam veteran from Florida who came into my office complaining about chest tightness and extreme fatigue. His background was clean. He didn't smoke, avoided fried food, exercised daily. He'd even lost 15 pounds in the past year, but his blood pressure was all over the place, and his A1C, the marker for long-term blood sugar, had crept into diabetic territory. What stood out was how confused he seemed. "I don't drink soda anymore. I've given up sweets," he told me. "Now I just snack on fruit. Mangoes mostly, sometimes dried, sometimes fresh. They feel good. They feel clean." But when I asked him how often, his answer stopped me. "Every day, doc. Sometimes two if they're small. Helps with cravings." So we did the math. One regular mango contains over 45 grams of sugar. That's more than a can of soda. And dried mango? Even worse. It's all sugar, no fiber, no water, just a fast-acting hit of fructose straight to the bloodstream. Donald didn't know it, but he had swapped one kind of sugar for another, and his heart was paying the price, and he's far from alone. Many older adults are trying to be healthier by ditching processed sweets and turning to tropical fruits, without realizing that these fruits can still send their blood sugar and pressure into dangerous territory. Once we cut back his mango intake and built a better fruit strategy, lower glycemic options like berries, for example, his energy came back and his heart symptoms faded. Later he told me, "I didn't think fruit could act like sugar, but sugar's sugar, no matter how fancy it looks." And he was right. The body doesn't care whether the sugar came from a candy bar or a mango. It only knows when it's had too much. And the aging heart, more vulnerable than ever, is often the first to feel the impact. So if you've ever noticed that post-meal slump, that sluggish heartbeat, or unexplained puffiness in your hands or feet, it might be time to take a second look at the fruit on your plate. Mangoes may seem like a pure tropical delight, but for many people over 60, they're a metabolic landmine. They're sweet on the surface, but hard on the heart. And if just one mango can do that, what happens when you reach for something even bigger, juicier, a fruit so water-heavy that it doesn't just bring sugar, but potassium and fluid, forcing your heart to push harder just to keep up? Let's go there next. It's cool. It's red. It's everywhere in summer. But behind the backyard smiles and picnic baskets, it might be silently overwhelming your aging heart. If you're still watching and learning something new, drop a number 1 in the comments to let me know you're here. Now let's dive into point number 4. Or watermelon, the red flood that overwhelms the aging heart. There's something nostalgic about watermelon. It's the fruit of summer barbecues, neighborhood picnics, childhood giggles, and 4th of July celebrations. A chilled slice on a hot day feels pure, hydrating, sweet, and refreshing. That's why many seniors turn to it, convinced it's one of the safest fruits for heart health. But what's rarely discussed is what watermelon can actually do to the aging body. And that lack of conversation, it can be dangerous, especially after 60. Most older adults don't realize that watermelon is more than just water and sweetness. When eaten in large amounts, it becomes a triple threat: high in natural sugars, rich in potassium, and capable of shifting your body's fluid levels so fast that your heart and kidneys struggle to adapt. Here's why that matters. As we age, kidney function naturally declines. That's just biology. Kidneys become less efficient at filtering waste and managing electrolytes. Now layer on medications like ACE inhibitors, diuretics, or beta blockers, drugs commonly used for heart failure and blood pressure, and your body becomes even more sensitive to potassium and fluid fluctuations. So when you eat 2 or 3 cups of watermelon in one sitting, something many people do without thinking, you're placing a sudden, unexpected load on your cardiovascular system. I'll never forget Mrs. Leah Cartwright, an energetic 81-year-old retired librarian from Kansas who visited me at the end of a particularly hot summer. She arrived with swollen legs, shortness of breath, and a heavy sensation in her chest. Her medications were unchanged. Her diet was mostly clean, no processed foods or extra salt. But when I asked about new habits, her face lit up. "Oh, doctor, I've swapped out desserts for watermelon. Big bowls, morning and night. With this heat, it's so much better than ice cream." Yes, better than ice cream, but not better without limits. Her lab tests revealed elevated potassium on the edge of danger. Her blood pressure, usually stable, had dropped. Her heart was struggling to maintain rhythm during any physical activity. The problem? Too much watermelon. The fruit itself wasn't the issue. It was the combination of excessive intake, age-related kidney slowdown, and medications that made her body unable to handle the overload. It didn't happen all at once. It crept in slowly, until her system just couldn't keep up. Let's break it down. 1 cup of watermelon delivers over 170 milligrams of potassium and 9+ grams of sugar. That doesn't sound threatening, but most seniors don't eat just 1 cup. On a hot day, they can eat bowls full, thinking they're staying hydrated. What they're really doing is flooding the body with water and electrolytes that dilute sodium and increase the pressure on the heart. The outcome? Fatigue, shortness of breath, swelling, and in serious cases, fluid in the lungs or a congestive heart failure event. And all of it from a fruit no one warns you about. Mrs. Cartwright was shocked. She thought she was making a heart-smart choice. But after 60, even healthy foods need to be tailored to your body's condition. Once we reduced her portions to a small daily cup, boosted hydration smartly, and tracked her potassium levels, she bounced back. Still, her words stuck with me. "I thought the danger was in junk food. I never imagined something so natural could throw me off like that." Watermelon isn't the villain, but your heart at 80 isn't the same heart you had at 40. And when your body's filters slow down, when your meds are delicately balanced, and when your internal systems are more fragile, yes, even watermelon can turn from helper to harm. So before you reach for seconds or thirds, pause. Ask yourself, can my heart handle this much fluid? Can my kidneys process this much potassium and sugar right now? Because often the foods that seem the safest are the ones that sneak up on us. And if watermelon, the poster child of hydration, can strain your heart, imagine what happens with a fruit that's smaller, denser, and stickier. One that looks innocent but behaves more like syrup in disguise. Let me show you what that is next. You may already have it tucked away in your pantry. 5. Dried fruits. Nature's candy with a hidden cost. For many older Americans, dried fruit seems like a smart swap. A few raisins instead of a cookie, a couple of dried apricots after dinner instead of pie. They're bite-sized, natural, and easy to chew. For seniors steering away from processed snacks, dried fruits feel like a safe, health-conscious compromise. Something sweet without the guilt. But here's the hidden truth. Dried fruit is nature's version of candy, concentrated, sticky, and more harmful to your heart than you might think. When fruit is dried, nearly all of its water is removed. What remains? A tiny, sugar-packed, calorie-dense fragment that rushes into your bloodstream faster than expected. Without the buffering effect of water and fiber, The sugar hits your system like a freight train, causing blood sugar to spike, inflaming your arteries, and placing immediate stress on your heart. After age 60, especially for those with high blood pressure, diabetes, prediabetes, or heart disease, these sugar surges can be dangerous. It's not just about blood sugar. These spikes also elevate triglyceride levels, stiffen arteries, and worsen insulin resistance. Hallmarks of a condition called metabolic syndrome, which dramatically increases the risk of heart attacks and strokes. One patient stands out in my memory, Mr. Samuel Reed, a 72-year-old retired mail carrier from Illinois. A kind, soft-spoken man who came to me after experiencing his second minor stroke within a year. He didn't smoke. He'd lost weight. He took his meds exactly as prescribed. He believed he was on the right track, but his blood work told a different story. Sky-high triglycerides and blood sugar levels creeping well into the diabetic range. When I asked about his eating habits, he answered with pride, "No junk food, doc. I haven't touched candy or cake in years. I just snack on fruit, raisins, prunes, dates. I keep a little tin of them in my truck." What he didn't realize was that just 1/4 cup of raisins carries nearly 30 grams of sugar, almost identical to a candy bar. A handful of dried figs or dates? Even worse, these aren't harmless nibbles. They're highly condensed sources of sugar. And for an aging body already under cardiac stress, they can quietly push metabolism into overload. Mr. Reed thought he was making a clean, disciplined choice. But no one had explained that sugar, whether from a chocolate bar or a dried fruit, affects the heart and blood vessels the same way. Together, we replaced his dried fruits with fresh, lower sugar alternatives. Berries, sliced apples with a bit of peanut butter, or a small bowl of Greek yogurt with cinnamon. Within a few weeks, his blood numbers improved. But what stayed with me most was what he said on his return visit. "I thought I gave up dessert, Doc. Turns out I just picked a smaller version that tricked me. And that's the problem with dried fruits. They come dressed in health halos. The packaging says no added sugar or 100% natural, and they seem harmless because of their size. But for older adults, portion control becomes critical. A few bites here and there can undo all the hard work you've put into healing your heart. And here's something many people overlook. Some dried fruits are coated in syrup or treated with sulfites, preservatives that can irritate digestion and raise blood pressure in those who are sensitive. Even the unsweetened varieties can still be sugar bombs, hidden in plain sight. So next time you reach for that handful of trail mix or open a bag of dried cranberries, ask yourself, am I nourishing my heart or unknowingly overloading it? Because even the healthiest foods, once condensed and eaten without awareness, can act like poison to an aging system. And if dried fruits can do that in a handful, what happens when you drink the sugar of 10 fruits in a single sitting, thinking you're doing something good for your heart just because the bottle says 100% juice? Let's talk about that next. It's sweet. It's easy. It's in nearly every kitchen across America. But it may be the most dangerous thing you're pouring into your glass. 6. Bottled fruit juice. The sweet trap for your heart. There's something reassuring about a glass of fruit juice. It feels like a simple, wholesome choice, especially for older adults looking to do right by their health. It's not soda. It's not coffee. It's 100% juice, all natural, or even heart healthy, right? That label alone can feel like a stamp of approval. But here's the uncomfortable truth many seniors never hear. That sweet, innocent glass might be placing silent stress on your heart every time you sip it. Whether it's orange, apple, grape, or some fancy superfruit blend, bottled fruit juice isn't remotely the same as eating the fruit itself. For aging bodies, it's one of the sneakiest sugar sources in the entire modern diet. Why? Because juice removes the fiber, the natural barrier that slows down how sugar enters your system. What you're left with is a rapid surge of fructose flooding your bloodstream, spiking your glucose levels, and placing immediate pressure on your heart and arteries. Let's get specific. A typical 12-ounce glass of orange juice has about 30 grams of sugar, the same as a can of soda. Grape juice can contain even more. And while the sugar may be natural, your aging organs don't know or care where it came from. Sugar is sugar. Without the fiber that whole fruit provides, your body receives a swift, unfiltered load that acts like a shockwave, especially to your heart and pancreas. I'll never forget Mrs. Darlene Evans, a 79-year-old retired school principal from Oregon. She was sharp, active, and committed to her health. She managed her mild hypertension and borderline diabetes with smart food choices and regular walks. But she came to me after weeks of dizzy spells and bouts of rapid heartbeat. Something in her system was off. Her blood pressure was spiking, her glucose levels were climbing, and her triglycerides were unusually high. "I've been good," she told me. "No more sweets, no soda, not even coffee. Just heart-friendly juices, cranberry in the morning, orange juice with lunch." I thought I was doing everything right, but in trying to stay healthy, she was unintentionally pouring 5 to 6 teaspoons of sugar into her body with every glass. No chewing, no fiber, just straight absorption. And her medications, meant to manage her blood sugar and pressure, were colliding with those daily sugar rushes. The result? Her symptoms weren't random. They were predictable signs of metabolic overload. Day after day, her system was being jolted until it couldn't keep up anymore. Once we removed bottled juices from her diet and replaced them with fresh, fiber-rich fruits in small amounts, along with water flavored naturally with lemon or mint, her symptoms began to fade. Her heart rhythm leveled out, her energy came back, and her lab results slowly improved. What she told me still rings in my ears. "I thought I was helping myself. I didn't know juice could turn on me like that. I thought it was keeping me healthy, but it was sending me to the edge." This is what so many older adults experience. You've made sacrifices, you've changed your habits, but no one tells you that the sugar in that pure juice bottle acts just like candy or soda once inside your aging body. And even faster. After 60, every choice matters more. Your liver processes sugar more slowly. Your arteries don't bounce back like they used to. Your heart can't handle dramatic changes in blood sugar or volume without consequences. And those sips of natural sweetness can quietly chip away at your stability, one glass at a time. So if you're sipping bottled juice daily, believing it's helping your heart, I urge you to pause. Check the label, count the grams of sugar, and ask yourself, would I sit and eat 5 whole oranges at once? Because that's what your body's being asked to digest, minus the fiber and the natural breaks. And if fruit juice, marketed as healthy, can trigger such powerful effects, what about a fruit that's been praised as a superfood? One that's rich in antioxidants, but also known to interfere with blood thinners and raise the risk of internal bleeding? Let's take a closer look at the red jewel everyone's talking about, the pomegranate. Because for some seniors, it's not the miracle it's made out to be, it's a quiet threat. 7. Pomegranate. A double-edged sword for those on blood thinners, pomegranate has earned its place in the spotlight. Celebrated in wellness circles as a superfruit brimming with antioxidants, vitamins, and heart-protective compounds. You'll see it splashed across health magazines, juice bottles, and supplement ads as a miracle for circulation. And for older adults seeking natural ways to boost heart health, pomegranate seems like a smart swap for sugary snacks or processed foods. But if you're over 60 and taking blood thinners like warfarin, Eliquis, Plavix, or even just a daily baby aspirin, this fruit might be quietly turning your medication into a ticking time bomb. The risk isn't the fruit itself, but what it does behind the scenes. Pomegranate contains powerful plant compounds that interfere with key liver enzymes, especially one called CYP450. This enzyme is responsible for metabolizing many common medications. When it's blocked, your drugs don't break down the way they should. Instead, they build up in your bloodstream. And when those drugs are blood thinners, the consequences can be dangerous. That buildup means your blood becomes thinner than intended, too thin, and that can quietly raise the risk of internal bleeding, spontaneous bruising, or even hemorrhagic stroke, all without obvious symptoms until it's too late. One patient I'll never forget is Mr. Carl Hendress, a 77-year-old retired Navy mechanic from Michigan. Steady, disciplined, and committed to staying well. Carl came into my clinic after noticing blood in his urine and nearly fainting in his kitchen. His INR, our test for how long it takes the blood to clot, was dangerously high. His blood was thinning too much. Carl had been on warfarin since a minor stroke the year before. His prescription hadn't changed. His diet was stable, or so we thought. But during our conversation, he casually mentioned that he'd added a daily glass of pomegranate juice to his breakfast routine after reading about its heart benefits online. That was the culprit. Pomegranate, when mixed with blood thinners like warfarin or even aspirin, can amplify their effects. In Carl's case, that morning juice was slowly tipping the scales, pushing his medication beyond safe limits and placing him in a dangerous zone. No symptoms, no warnings, just one change he thought was healthy. We removed the juice, adjusted his diet, and closely monitored his INR levels. His numbers returned to normal, and his symptoms resolved. But what struck him most, and what he said to me later, was chilling in its honesty. "Doc, I thought I was helping my heart. I never knew a fruit could mess with my meds." And that's the heart of the issue. We're rarely told that fruits, yes, even healthy ones, can interact with our medications, just like any over-the-counter or prescription drug. Your liver processes everything through the same set of pathways, whether it's a pill or a piece of fruit. And as you age, those pathways become more delicate, more sluggish, and easier to throw off balance. That's why food becomes something more than fuel after 60. It becomes part of your treatment plan. Every bite you take can either work alongside your medications or silently fight against them. So does this mean pomegranates are off limits for everyone on blood thinners? Not exactly. But if you take medications that impact your blood's ability to clot, especially prescription anticoagulants, you need to be cautious. Talk to your doctor before adding pomegranate juice or supplements to your routine. Small portions, eaten consistently and with medical oversight, are the safest path forward. Because even the healthiest foods, when not matched to your personal medications, can backfire. And if something as antioxidant-rich and heart-hyped as pomegranate can quietly throw off your blood chemistry, what about the fruits that look even more harmless? The ones stacked in your pantry, the ones swimming in syrup, the ones you can eat with a spoon straight out of the can. Let me show you what's really going on in those neat little containers. Because the next fruit we'll explore may be filling your heart and your arteries with a sugar load you never saw coming. 8. Canned fruits. Syrup and sodium in disguise. There's a certain comfort in cracking open a can of fruit, especially for seniors living alone, managing tight budgets, or looking for soft, easy-to-eat options. Peaches, pears, fruit cocktail, they feel like a healthy compromise. They're familiar, sweet, and often sold with labels boasting heart-healthy benefits or added vitamins. But what most older adults don't see is the danger lurking beneath that syrupy sheen. A double threat of sugar and salt quietly burdening the heart. Canned fruits are often packed in thick syrup. Even those marked "in fruit juice" aren't much better. That syrup, laden with added sugars, can turn a half-cup serving of peaches into a sugar bomb, rivaling a candy bar, with little to no fiber to slow down how fast it hits your system. That means fast spikes in blood glucose, insulin surges, and increased inflammation, all of which accelerate artery damage, strain your heart, and raise your risk for metabolic complications. But there's more to worry about than just sugar. Many seniors don't realize that canned fruit, even when it tastes sweet, can also carry added sodium and preservatives in the packing liquid. That sodium can cause fluid retention, raise your blood pressure, and put extra pressure on already burdened kidneys and hearts. And if you're on medications for high blood pressure or heart failure, the risk doubles. One patient who taught me this well was Mrs. Betty Lawson, a 75-year-old widow from rural Tennessee. She came to my clinic complaining of swollen legs, fatigue, and shortness of breath. Her prescriptions hadn't changed. Her routine hadn't shifted. But something was clearly off. When we reviewed her meals, the answer became clear. "Just a little fruit bowl in the afternoon," she said. "Peaches or pears right out of the can. Better than cookies, right?" What she didn't realize was that her well-meaning snack was flooding her system daily with hidden sugar and sodium. Her aging kidneys couldn't flush the extra fluid. Her blood pressure was creeping up. Her heart was under strain, and she had no idea why. We made a few changes. No sugar-added canned fruit only, thoroughly rinsed before eating. I encouraged her to use frozen or fresh options when possible, The difference was remarkable. Her swelling eased, her energy improved, and her heart stabilized. But what stuck with me was her quiet fear when she realized how a can of fruit had almost sent her back to the hospital. I thought I was doing the right thing, she said. I had no clue fruit could turn on me like that. That's the truth so few are told. The problem isn't the fruit, it's how it's packaged. After 60, your organs are more sensitive. Your body processes sugar and salt more slowly. That means even well-intended habits, like eating fruit, can cause real harm when those fruits are swimming in syrup and soaked in sodium. So if you rely on canned fruit, flip the can around. Look for packed in water or no sugar added. Rinse the fruit before eating, and always be mindful of portions, because without fiber, even natural sugar acts fast and hits hard. And if something as classic and comforting as canned fruit can steer your heart into danger, what happens when we eat too much of even the so-called good fruits, the ones full of fiber, praised by doctors and stacked high at farmers markets? Let's talk about that next. Because even the healthiest fruit, when eaten without limits, can become a quiet threat hiding in plain sight. 9. Overdoing heart-healthy fruits. When good intentions go too far. Eat more fruits and vegetables. It's the golden rule we've heard for decades, from doctors' offices to health columns to morning news shows. And the truth is, it is wise advice until good intentions start to outweigh balance. Fruits offer vitamins, fiber, and antioxidants. But after 60, your body operates on a new set of rules. Your metabolism has slowed. Your kidneys aren't as efficient. Your medication list has grown longer. And your heart, though strong, is more sensitive to sudden shifts in potassium, sugar, and hydration. That means even the healthiest foods can cause harm when eaten in excess or without the right context. I'll never forget Mr. Franklin Dale, a 78-year-old retired music teacher who walked into my office full of pride and completely exhausted. After a mild heart attack, he'd cleaned up his diet with absolute dedication. No red meat, no fried food, no processed snacks. Just whole foods, lots of bananas, beets, sweet potatoes, kale, spinach. Doctor, he told me with a grin, I've gone green. I don't even miss junk food. But despite this commitment, Franklin wasn't thriving. He felt weaker, dizzier. His muscles ached and his sleep had become restless. When we ran his labs, we found a troubling mix: elevated potassium, early kidney stress, and wide swings in blood pressure. It didn't make sense at first until we looked at his portions. He wasn't eating the wrong foods, just too much of the right ones. Many heart-healthy fruits and vegetables, like bananas, oranges, avocados, beets, are rich in potassium, great in moderation. But paired with common heart medications like ACE inhibitors or potassium-sparing diuretics, that same potassium can build up silently in the bloodstream, leading to hyperkalemia. It's a condition that can disrupt your heart's electrical signals and trigger dangerous arrhythmias. And then there's spinach and kale. High in vitamin K, yes, helpful for many things. But for patients on blood thinners, inconsistency in vitamin K intake can interfere with how your medication works, leaving you at risk for clotting or excessive bleeding, depending on how the balance tips. Even fruits like apples and grapes, innocent as they seem, contain natural sugars. And if those sugars aren't paired with protein or fiber, they can lead to blood sugar spikes that feed long-term inflammation. That inflammation is the bedrock of artery damage, and yes, heart disease. We worked closely with Franklin to scale things back. Smaller servings, more variety, a bit more protein and balance throughout the day. Within a few weeks, his symptoms faded. His energy came back. But I'll never forget his face when he said softly, I didn't know I could overlove my heart. And that's the truth many don't hear. After 60, eating well isn't about eating more. It's about eating smarter. Your body no longer rewards extremes. It wants steadiness, gentle nourishment, predictability. Because your heart has weathered decades of living, it now deserves to be supported with careful thought, not overzealous effort. So if you've been trying hard to eat clean, but still feel something isn't right, fatigue, swelling, strange rhythms, it might not be what you're eating. It could be how much or how often. Even nature's best gifts can become burdens if they're out of balance with your needs. Now that you've learned which foods to approach with caution, let's shift focus to what your heart truly needs now. Foods that comfort, strengthen, and support without overwhelming. Because this is where healing truly begins. 10. So what should you eat to nourish your heart after 60? By the time you reach your 60s, your heart has already clocked in over 2 billion beats. It's been there through joy and sorrow, through children growing up and old friends drifting away, through retirements, quiet mornings, and the slowing of steps once taken with ease. It's more than a muscle. It's your lifelong partner. And now it's asking for something back. Thoughtful care, mindful choices, and nourishment that matches the rhythm of this chapter in your life. So many seniors look at me after hearing about the hidden dangers in some healthy foods and ask the same question. Well then, doc, what can I eat? Here's the hopeful answer. You can still love your food. You can enjoy flavor, satisfaction, and healing, all on the same plate, but it takes intention. What worked for your heart at 40 won't serve you the same at 70. Your body needs foods that honor your slower digestion, your delicate kidneys, and your heart's changing needs. Take Mrs. Ruby Henderson, for example, an 83-year-old retired nurse from Georgia. She came into my office determined but discouraged. Her blood pressure was edging higher. Her energy was dipping. But more than anything, she wanted to maintain her independence. I just want to stay out of the hospital and in my home, she told me, eyes full of quiet strength. She wasn't on many medications, and she wanted to keep it that way. So we didn't focus on restricting everything. Instead, we built a plan around foods that would gently support her, foods that nourish instead of overwhelm. We chose cooked over raw vegetables. Why? Because they're easier on digestion, less likely to cause bloating, which can press against the heart, and still rich in heart-helping nutrients, just in a gentler form. Here's what Ruby's plate began to look like. Steamed green beans and broccoli, seasoned with olive oil and herbs like rosemary or thyme, antioxidant-rich and blood vessel-friendly. Roasted carrots packed with beta-carotene to support healthy arteries. Lightly sautéed zucchini with garlic, hydrating and supportive of blood pressure regulation. Cooked tomatoes in soups and stews, rich in lycopene to help arteries stay flexible. Small portions of sweet potatoes, rotated in carefully, offering slow energy and fiber without potassium overload. Her fruit choices? Light and strategic. Fresh berries like blueberries or strawberries, once or twice a week for their protective polyphenols. Thin slices of apples or pears, with meals to reduce sugar spikes. A few cubes of melon on occasion, and never late at night when digestion lags. We kept her portions modest, timed her meals to match her medication schedule, and prioritized hydration, mostly water and herbal teas. No bottled juices, no sweetened drinks, and the result? In just 3 months, Ruby's blood pressure smoothed out. Her energy returned. She felt in control again. Doc, she said during her follow-up, I'm finally eating for my age, for my heart, not like I used to, but in a way that makes sense. That's exactly the message. At this stage in life, it's not about eating more. It's about eating smarter. You don't need bland meals. You don't need to deprive yourself. You just need to meet your body where it is now, not where it used to be. And where it is now? It's wiser. It's more delicate. It's done a lot of heavy lifting. So the food you choose should respect that. Tailored not just to what's healthy, but to your specific needs, your prescriptions, your test results, and your goals for the years ahead. Because at this age, food isn't just about energy. It's about protection. It's your everyday medicine. So if you've ever wondered, what can I eat that truly supports me now? Here's the answer. Whole, gentle, unprocessed foods, served in portions and combinations that work with your body, not against it. But nutrition is only part of the puzzle. True heart health in your 60s and beyond isn't just found in the kitchen. It's in the way you live, move, rest, and respond to the signals your body sends you. The next chapter of your life deserves that clarity, and you deserve to step into it with confidence. One final reflection for the road ahead. Honoring your heart with every choice. Stepping into your 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond brings a powerful mix of reflection and resolve. You've weathered storms and celebrated victories. You've witnessed love, loss, growth, and change. Through all of it, your heart has remained the steady drumbeat beneath your life's most defining moments. Now it's time to return the favor with care, with intention, and with compassion for the body that's carried you this far. This isn't about cutting out pleasure or turning every plate into a puzzle. It's about tuning into the quiet wisdom of your body. Every bite, every sip, every small decision matters more now. Not because you're fragile, but because you've earned the right to live with clarity. When your heart whispers through fatigue, swelling, or breathlessness, it's asking you to listen and to respond with love. To honor your heart means making your daily choices a form of self-respect. It means building meals that protect your arteries and stabilize your pressure without falling for sugar traps or salty shortcuts. It means reaching for herbs instead of the shaker, embracing fresh foods over factory-made ones, and swapping sugary sips for simple hydration. Not because you have to, but because you deserve to feel strong. It means understanding that portion control isn't punishment, it's precision. It's the art of balance, not denial. But let's not forget, health isn't only what's on your plate. Your heart finds strength in movement, in relationships, in purpose. A slow walk under morning sun, laughter shared over tea, a handwritten note to someone you love. These are the moments that lighten the load your body carries. They bring rhythm to your days and meaning to your health, more than any vitamin ever could. Your heart has shown up for you every day. Now it's your turn to show up for it. Draw from your decades of wisdom. Use it to live with intention, not just to avoid illness, but to create joy. Let every meal, every step, every connection be a gesture of gratitude. You're not just managing your health, you're shaping a vibrant, present, and purposeful life. And you're not alone on this path. Stay connected with your doctor. Tune in to what your body is saying. Believe that better days are still possible, that the next chapter can be your strongest yet. Your future isn't something to fear, it's something to shape. These messages are here to empower you, to help you move forward with more knowledge and more confidence. Now it's your turn. Take a quiet moment to reflect. What's one thing that spoke to you today? One change you'll make starting now? Share it below. Let's learn from each other, support each other, and grow together. If this video helped you, comment 1 below. If not, feel free to type 0. Your feedback truly helps us bring you more of what matters. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more content that speaks to your heart and honors your journey. Thank you for being here. And here's to living life on your terms with clarity, grace, and power.